Okay, and just hands down by your sides. All right, so getting yourself ready for this hour of Pilates practice for you. We're in week 5, and I hope you enjoyed this session today. We're going to just start off with our lovely postural check, just breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Giving yourself just a moment just to settle your thoughts, whether your brain is spinning or whether you're a wonderfully calm person. Just getting ourselves to focus on the breath is a super way of just drawing yourself into the room. And of course, into your body and how you feel today, this morning. Okay, so as you breathe in, notice perhaps that breath into that lung space. All right, so have a nice couple of big breaths for me, this next 2 breaths. Really breathe in. Inflate across this thoracic area. Notice the movement. Notice what happens when you do this lovely breath. It's nice and deep. And then exhaling and just into your natural spontaneous breathing pattern. Breathing in and growing nice and tall, lifting every vertebrae, allowing that space, that stretch, that room between the vertebrae as they grow up towards the ceiling like a slinky. You're pulling yourself up, allowing space between each vertebrae. And as you exhale, don't lose that height, okay? That's important, not to lose the height with the exhale. But in turn, take your thoughts towards your core activations. So growing tall with the breath in, continue to remain high and broad, and exhale as you bring in your tummy to spine and think of that core activation, okay? So we're going to go straight on in to that hollowing of that lovely abdominal area. And of course, the pelvic floor area as well. Exhale and drawing up underneath the pelvis, that lovely area around wind and water, supporting your pelvis superbly. Just a couple of times now, just making sure you really try and fire up those lovely muscles, muscle groups as you just exhale. And we have one more time. Growing nice and tall. And exhale, zipping and hollowing. And bring yourselves back into the room. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to start really simply by taking the thoughts towards the palms of your hands by the side of your thighs, just as if you're trying to give the side of your legs a little bit of a wash or a scrub. I just want you to take yourself into some shoulder rolls, okay? Easy work, okay? So you're just going to shoulder roll. And imagine your hands, as I say, are just washing either side of your legs, okay? So you're going to try and get some nice circles going with these hands on the side of your legs. And obviously at the same time, therefore, the shoulders are rotating or circling around the shoulder joint, not missing any part, front, back, and also heading up towards your ear and down towards the floor, okay? So that's our lovely movement for shoulder roll. Reversing direction when you're ready, again, just thinking of those palms of the hands, just making circles on the sides of your legs, scrubbing perhaps a dinner plate on the side of the leg and trying to get across every part of the surface, yeah, so you don't miss any bit out. And pausing there, bringing your fingertips down, just resting them onto your shoulders. We're just going to take that another stage further. Now the elbows are going to be drawing some gorgeous circles on the walls either side of you. So just gently drawing those elbows, front, up, back and down. As you get a little bit more movement now, we've got a longer lever, so we get a little bit more involvement perhaps across the pectoral muscles or the front of the chest, perhaps the shoulder blades as well. The rotator cuff muscles having a gorgeous stretch too. And then reversing direction when you're ready, just rolling those shoulders comfortably in their shoulder joints. And finishing off one more time with your hands by your sides into your full circles for the arms now. So starting with the arms coming forward, let's bring them to shoulder height, where we then keep that rib cage in check, all right, so we don't then arch the back. Let's use the shoulder joint as it's meant. Lift the arms towards the sky. As the arms head over, you're going to rotate the hands and then sweep behind you and bring yourself back up. Okay, so keeping control of the torso. Use the shoulder joint, use the associated muscles around them to be stretched as opposed to accommodating with your spinal movement. We have one more time. And we're going to reverse, not always everyone's cup of tea, so work within your own range, sending the hands behind you to begin with. And then once you've got that full lengthening and extension of the arms, we're going to then turn the palms forward and sweep overhead. Okay, again, just take it nice and slow. So you really think about getting into all the nooks and crannies of this shoulder joint. And we've got 2 more. And our final one. Pausing with the hands by your sides. Well done. Okay, taking the hands now, just gently resting behind the back of the head. This is not a massive clasp of the head, perhaps as ordinarily we would think. We're just going to take now our knees and soften the knees towards the toes as we did last week. A gentle knee fold and sit here into that lovely ankle joint. Knee and hip nice and secure, belly to spine. Elbows should be in peripheral vision for me now. So try and think about pulling the elbows slightly back and shoulders down. So you've really got the chest slightly open. And we're going to imagine we're doing our little tiny C curve work we did previously last week. Okay, so bring that tummy button in, a tiny, tiny, tiny tilt of the pelvis, all right, just enough to start to open the lumbar spine, almost as if you're trying to stretch this lower part broad and wide like a concertina. Then we're going to roll the chin to the chest, still belly in, still tiny tilt of the pelvis, and roll just a small way down, probably really only about 20-30 centimeters, pausing here. Now I'd like you to then just think about your right elbow lifting towards the side of you and looking towards the right of your room, the right side of your room, okay? Then you bring your chin back down to your chest and your elbows are in parallel to the floor, where we hold that belly in, nice tiny tilt, still left elbow lifts, looking to the left side of the room, okay? And back to center. One more time to the right. Well done. And back to center, still keeping that tummy in, still lengthening the lumbar spine at the lower part of the spine at the tailbone, and then coming back to center and peel yourself back up. Well done. Okay, from that center point, we're going to now practice our lovely little neck roll. So your legs are extended, take your chin to your chest, and I want you to now lift your shoulder towards the right, okay? And then look out towards the front, but we're having a little longer stretch through towards the side of the body. Now imagine your chin is going to just roll down across the chest, and then you lift your left shoulder. That's it. Let the chin now roll down across the chest and lift the right shoulder. So we get a little bit more deep into that lower rib cage area, rolling from side to side. Let the chin come down for just in between, just to really open now more of that thoracic spine. One more time, either side, down to center. And final time, roll the chin down to center, lift your elbow, looking and stretching, and come back to center, peeling back up. Well done. Okay, stepping away now towards the end of the mat, we're going to take ourselves into a full roll down. Okay, so this is called the caterpillar. It's a more of a flowing move, and we've got a few things that are interconnected and flowing to go through this morning. So let's go nice and tall. If you need to bend your knees to start off with, that's fine for the roll down. And let's go ahead and tuck our chin to chest. Bring that belly to spine. We're going to roll down, bend the knees, as I say, if you need to. I'm going to walk towards the front edge of the mat with your hands, I beg your pardon, with the hands, not the feet. Hands are walking now towards the front edge of the mat. And if you can bring yourself into a plank, that's great. If you can't quite get into a plank this morning, perhaps the knees are soft and you've still got yourself in like a bit of a soft V shape. Or if you're in plank, pause here for a second, and then we're going to walk our hands back towards our knees and feet. You might need to bend the knees to bring yourself back up this first one or two. And we roll back up, restacking the spine into standing, and we grow nice and tall for number 2 of 3. Breathe in, exhale, rolling down. Knees bent or straight up to you, then starting to walk your hands forward into full plank or a softened downward dog if you wish. And we pause, breathe in, grow long, and then walking back. Knees bent or straight, see how you feel. As you may be getting a little bit of movement happening, you might feel a little bit more able to have the legs straight. We have our last one, rolling down. And this time we're actually going to stay in our plank position, okay? So however you need to come down with knees bent or straight, bring yourselves forward into plank. And pause for a second for me in plank, okay? So I just want you to tidy up and be aware of this plank position. The shoulder blades are back and down, toes are tucked under, bottom isn't up here now by the sky. We really need to bring that bottom down, chest through the arms. And once you're in this lovely plank position, think about your kneecaps. And I want you to just simply not move the torso, but let the kneecaps sink down towards the mat and pause here. Bring a bit of tummy control in, pull that belly in and pelvic floor. And I'd like you now to drop your right elbow to the floor where the hand currently is, and place your forearm down in front of you and parallel to the long length of your mat, side of your mat, okay? And then the same with the left side. So we're in our kind of sphinx position, if you like. Some people prefer to have the hands in wrists because it's a little bit easier on the shoulders, or you can have your palms down if you're comfortable with that slight rotation, internal rotation of the shoulders. Then we're going to now ignore our upper bodies, think about the tummy being nice and tight, and I'd like you simply to lift your right kneecap off the floor. Now, all being well, there should be no need to be shuffling because we were in the plank before, so the leg position should be exactly as it was. Okay, then we take the kneecap back down onto the floor, breathe in, exhale, lift your left kneecap and extend your left leg so it's straight as if it was planking all by itself, and then back down. One more single either side, breathe in, exhale, lift. As you lift your leg, push a little bit through the heel, perhaps for the lengthening of that thigh bone out of the hip socket. Shoulder blades back and down and tummies in. And with the last of singles, if we can, we're going to go into doubles or continue singles if you need to. We are doubles from here just for 4. If you're singles, we're alternating for 4. That's 3. If you're singles, this is your last one either side. I know this is a big warmer upper. Our last one, lift. And release both knees down onto the mat. Lift yourself onto your hands again, so our elbows are off the mat, and we're going to walk our hands back towards our knees into a child's pose. So soften your toes, and this first child's pose might feel like it's not getting anywhere near perhaps the ones later on in class, but you may be very bendy. Don't worry if it's not, just pause and see how you feel. Your bottom might be up somewhere near the sky, your head may be nowhere near the mat, that is fine. And just pause and breathe. Breathe and pause. Gorgeous, okay. Alrighty, so when you're ready, walk your hands back to your knees and then just slowly lift your bottom up so you're into a high kneel. If you need to grab something nearby to you, okay, so maybe it's the wall or something, we're going to lift one leg forwards into a right angle. Okay, so you're in this lovely 2 double right angle position, one leg forwards and one on the knee. Now, if you need to grab a cushion, go ahead. However, the theory is we're going to be coming off that knee, so you won't be pressing down on the supporting knee that long, all right? But we'll see how we get on. This is a notoriously difficult move. Our arms can be chosen, you can choose your arms to be across your chest. If you struggle, you may need to pop your hands onto that front thigh, okay? So that's absolutely fine. The purpose of this is to be thinking we are currently squished in a little tube, a vacuum that's going to suck us towards the sky, right at the crown of the head. We cannot therefore travel forwards at all. However, I know our bodies will want to. Foot at the moment is down at the back, so you haven't got your toes tucked under. To modify, you may want to put your toes under. Just bear that in mind. So I'm going to show you what's going to happen. We're going to breathe in, and we're going to think about pulling up into the core and especially the pelvic floor area. And we are simply going to press into this front supporting foot, knee and thigh and elevate that back kneecap off the floor by about 1 inch and then back down. Okay, so you'll see it's not the easiest thing to do. You're going to breathe in and just lift that back kneecap off the floor and back down. So you've got your shopping list of to-dos, which may or may not be happening. You might be finding you're having to drive yourself forward. Well, maybe you need to press your hands down a bit onto the thigh, and that will stop you from throwing yourself forwards, okay? Perhaps you need to tuck those toes under, as I mentioned before, and that will just help you a little bit with this lift. Imagine everything is pulling up, 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 up through this suction cup, through this vacuum, right up through the crown of the head towards the sky. Last 2, squeezing that buttock under. Last 1, and pause here. We're going to switch legs. Again, if you need to hold something to switch the legs, go ahead and just switch so your other leg is forwards. And see how you feel on this side. Okay, so again, you can modify if you have something handy to hold on to. If you do need to feel like you want to grab hold of a cushion or a chair or a solid object, be careful near you, go ahead. Otherwise, we're going to take them to the other side. Breathing in, exhale, small little knee float and down, and a knee float. Now, the challenge, of course, is making this knee float as tiny as possible. It would be theoretically the first move in the first innervation of the muscles you actually engage before you stand up. As soon as you've got your lift, you'd be driving forwards and of course bringing yourself into standing. So it's a very small little move, but it is one we do almost without knowing. And once you isolate it without the movement and the big guys, it's incredibly hard. Last one. And last one, putting the knee down, bringing both knees back into high kneel. We're going to take ourselves into a sway back. Now this will be on the knees for a little while, so if you do feel that you need to put anything under your knees like a cushion, then go ahead now if you have any knee issues or discomfort. Arms are to the front, shoulder blades back and down, and belly is in. Feet are down if you can, but if you are uncomfortable with that, you can go ahead and pop your feet tucked under. Or again, cushions under the feet if that feels better for you. Okay, imagining yourself from the knee through the hips to the shoulders are with just one solid piece, much like the tree trunk work we were talking about last week when we were immobile in this upper body, but also involving the upper thighs as well this week. We're going to breathe in, and as we exhale, just simply sway the upper body back, okay, towards the mat behind you, but towards your heels, and bring yourself back to center. Breathing in and exhale, sway back. Just gently imagining yourself, a little breeze blowing you and just easing yourself back. No great strain. But again, can I ask you to think about the pelvic floor and tummy coming in as you head back? Really think about that focus so it's not an arch of the lower back, but pull in, tummy in. Last one, breathe in, exhale. And pausing here, we're adding on. So the add-on is going to be a sway back, and from the sway back, we're going to pause. Then we're going to imagine the bottom cheeks. They've got a little wire attaching them to the heels. You're heading down that wire, but you never actually get to sit on the heel. And then you're going to come back up the wire, and the whole body comes up to 90, facing front of the mat. Okay, so let's go through that together. Breathe in, exhale, sway back. Holding sway back, just lower the bottom towards your heels and then drive back up into your high kneel starting position. Well done. And sway back. Tummy in, floors in, let the bottom lower only towards the heels and then drive forwards. And last one, sway back. And the bottom sinks towards the heels and then come back forwards and pause here, release the arms. Okay, we're just going to do one little tiny mini roll down here, and then we're going to go into the final level. So just taking your hands by your sides, tuck your chin to your chest, roll down towards the mat to the point your hands come onto the mat, and just rest those fingers there on the mat. Okay, we're going to just breathe into that back space, almost like a cat stretch across the shoulder blades, into the lower spine, weighting the hands towards the front. Okay, so you just rest a little bit in that lower spine and exhale. And one more breath in and exhale. And then peel yourself back up into your high kneel position. Okay, so adding on, you have a third level option. You're more than welcome to carry on with level 1. You can carry on with level 2. Level 3, I will quickly show you because you might not really see obviously the difference between them. Level 3, we have our sway back. Then we lower the bottom. But instead of just driving forwards, we then press the pelvis back into sway back, and then we come back through to the front position. Okay, so it's 3 stages. When you're ready, or choose one of the others, breathe in, exhale for sway back. Now we're going to lower the bottom. Instead of just driving forwards, we're going to push the hips so you're into your sway back, and then you come up into 90 where you'll start. Well done. Breathe in, exhale, sway back. Tummy in, floors in, so your core is controlled as you lower. You hover, don't touch, push up the hips into your angle, and then straight to the ceiling. We've got one more. Choosing your level. If you want to just finish off with a couple of sway backs here, that's fine. Pressing up your bottom towards your sway back and up. Well done. And release your hands by your sides. If you're not facing down the length of the mat or the short side of the mat, I want you to turn now so you're facing down the length of the mat or the long edge. Okay, we're going to use the full length of the mat now in high kneel. Okay, so in high kneel, facing down towards the edge of this the long edge of this mat, we're going to release now one arm down towards the floor and our opposite arm out to, a leg out towards the end of the mat. Okay, alrighty, bring your top hand up and just rest it gently behind the back of the head if you can. Alrighty, now if you find this is a bit uncomfortable, you're more than welcome to lift your hand onto perhaps a cushion or maybe a block or something you've got going on here, or even roll the mat a few times to give you an extra centimetre here if you need to. Depends on the length of your limbs a little and hip comfort. From here, we're going to very simply start with a leg raise. So let's go ahead with a leg raise. It's this lovely extended leg, nice and long down to the end of the mat, and it's just going to lift and lower. Now you will know when you've just started this little bit of exertion, okay, once you've got yourself into the shape, whether this is for you or not. If it is not, please take yourself down into side lying on the mat. So for you guys who are carrying on here, just stay with the leg raises for a moment. Modification for guys, otherwise you're down, lower leg bent at 90, and this is your version here. Yeah, okay, so you can choose this if it's just too hippie for you. Okay. We will have our lovely raises here for 2 more, whichever shape or level you're at. And our last one, where we pause with the leg high. So everyone pausing with the leg high and regrouping. Keep this shoulder away from the top ear for me, guys. Nice space between the shoulder and ear. Sorry, lower ear. Okay, with the leg raise, we're coming into side kick. So I'd like you to keep your torso nice and still, drawing the leg forwards towards the front, and then we're going to sweep the leg towards the back. Okay, so nice, simple work. Imagining that you're staying pretty much the same height between the leg and the floor the whole time, both forwards and backwards. A little bit tempting to lift the lift the leg towards the back. Okay, and as you come forwards, we tend to lower it towards the floor. So just be mindful of that. Last 2. And we're finishing, everybody please, with the leg behind. So just wherever you're at, finish off the leg behind. Your top arm is now going to come forwards, pretty much parallel with the floor, okay? So your hand and leg are both in parallel to the floor, well done. As you sweep your leg forwards, this next time sweep your leg behind you. And you've got a diagonal working here. Now we cross. So this is done either high or low for you guys on the floor as well. You can also do this same piece, sweeping forwards and backwards. Challenging the body, working the front and back side of the body as they communicate and work together to keep you upright. Last one. And then bring yourself back to center. Foot comes down, hand is just behind the back of the head. We're going to attempt to bring ourselves back up into our high kneel. So if you can draw yourself up with the core, we're into high kneel. For you guys on the floor, if you could bring yourself up into high kneel as well, that would be superb. Bring yourself to the front edge of the mat with those knees, okay? So you're right at the front edge of the mat, and the hands are just across the chest. Okay, so the feet are flat behind me here, all righty? Pretty much in parallel hip width apart. We're going to now think about our bottom cheeks, okay, the glorious bottom cheeks. Let's go ahead and take your left bottom cheek and we're going to lower it towards your left heel. So we're going to breathe in, grow tall, and the left bottom cheek heads down towards the left heel, and you're in a little tiny bit of a mermaid position. Bring yourself back up. And now the right bottom cheek is going to push over towards that right heel. Okay, so see how you feel, breathing in, just working a little bit through the obliques, working a little bit through some rotation through the spine, but also challenging the hip socket. Breathe in and exhale down. Of course, if you're finding this is a struggle, you can maybe broaden the legs slightly or tuck the toes under, and that might work a bit better for you. Okay, bottom heading to the side and back up, and to the side. Last 2, and across to the side. Really working deep into these hips. And bring yourself back up for the final one. Well done. Now we are all going to side lie down on the mat. So taking yourselves down, 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 down we go. Okay, so we are on a forearm this week. So you've got your elbow underneath the shoulder, if you can, all righty, ideally. Try again to think about that space between the shoulder and the ear, so you're not hunched down like this. Equally, you're not trying to look up towards me and crunching the top shoulder accidentally. So it's that sort of equal distance split by the neck here. Everyone, if you can for me, just bring your knees slightly towards the front. So you're in 45 degrees. They're not right out towards the front, but just slightly down away from the hip, and shoulder blades back and down. Okay, so we're going to first attempt to hip lift with this lowest level. The knees are down. We have a nice pulled in tummy, and try and think about the rib cage lift. We did that way back in week 1. We talked about lifting the rib cage as if there was a little tiny fire going on the mat, and we lifted the rib cage to make sure we weren't sunk and slumped here. Okay, so nice and lifted with the rib cage, and top arm comes towards the ear again. Shoulder blades back and down. Okay, have a little word now. Visualize in your mind's eye. Are they pulling slightly down? Are they pulling slightly together? We breathe in, and with all that done, we then have a lift of our hips and buttocks off the mat, and we lower down. So this may not be a very big lift. It may just be the tiniest start of a lift. Yeah, that might just be all we need. A little bit like that knee lift we were doing a moment ago, just starting the right muscles to go into contraction is enough to get us into the right muscles activating and a workout. Okay, breathing in, exhale, lift. Now, guys who prefer to work a little bit harder, we have another level, and you can then lift with your leg extended. So take your top leg, reaching it out, perhaps swing the lower leg slightly back in alignment with your top leg, and you can work at this level. Okay, so you've got your lower leg at 90, knee roughly under the top knee. That's not too critical. Work within comfort, and your top leg is extended. People still doing the lower level version, continue there. Okay, I'm going to quickly show the version for people who might want to take it up a level, where you have your feet in tightrope and we're starting to lift with both legs extended. Have an opportunity, it's week 5, to have a go. If you have no shoulder discomfort, see how you feel. For all of us here, we're going to pause down for a second and take our arm up towards the ceiling. Okay, wonderful. All righty, so we're going to add in arc if it's available to you. So as you lift, whether it's about 45 degrees, a 90-degree lower leg, or legs are extended, we're going to lift, and the top arm is going to reach up and over into arc. As you come back down, sweep the hand back down towards your top hip or thigh, breathing in, exhale, and up we go over. Well done. And we've got 2 more, breathing in. Keep that lovely gaze towards the horizon, so we're not twisting and rotating. We're lifting in parallel, front and back, equally working. And this is our final one, pausing here. Well done. Okay, gorgeous. Peel yourself back up into sitting, and legs are forward. Before we do the other side, we're going to have a nice little rest off these shoulders. Okay, so feet are facing up towards the ceiling. All right, I'm going to come back a little bit. So your toes up towards the ceiling and your feet are facing front. All right, our hands are going to be by our sides. You may recall a little while ago we did some work with our hands and our arms. We just want to use the same support mechanism. So we walk our fingertips right out towards the side, almost so you're just touching the fingertips, really. If you happen to have very long arms, then you may feel much more comfortable with your hands down and palms on the floor. It's totally up to you. But with this, almost driving down of roots into the floor, put your shoulder blades back and down and lift through the crown of the head. Use that slight press in the fingers to grow nice and tall. Now we're going to work on leg lift. If you feel you need to have your hands slightly further behind you and take the angle off the hip joint, yes, when you go into leg lift, as I'm showing you now, again, that is a modification for you if you would rather be slightly back here, but don't slump. You're still nice and open with the chest and shoulder blades engaged. When you're ready, as I say, toes are flexed. We're going to imagine there's a nice little string on the top of the big toe, and we're going to lift, if we can, that foot off the floor and down. Now, a small move again is enough, to the point where it may not even move at all, and all you do is just levitate a millimeter off the mat. You might find you can get a little bit higher, depending on how much comfort you've got in the hip and strength in the hip joint itself. Breathe in, exhale, press into the fingers, and single leg lift. Breathe in, exhale, single leg lift, and single leg lift. And pause here with a forward fold, just to relax and take the weight off the hands and maybe out of the hip joint for a second, giving the legs a shake. All righty, so we've got 1 more set, and the second set is going to be another level up, as you know. So you can continue as you were, or you can change. And our modified version, sorry, our level up version will be a lift, a straight leg lift. And we're going to see if we can touch the back of the heel onto the opposite toes, okay? And then we place the foot back down. All righty, so breathe in, exhale, single leg lift, and place the heel onto the toes if you can, and back down. Now you might think, I'd like to just have a go, but I can't necessarily get that high, in which case that's fine. But in theory, you're working on just trying to cross. Your direction of travel is heel to toe. So it might be that you just get to do a lift and a slight touch across. Okay, and it might not get all the way to the top of the toe, that's fine. And across, breathe in, press into those fingers, use them as roots, nice and grounded, nice and tall through the head. Last 2, breathe in, exhale, touch across, and exhale, touch across. Well done, superb. Taking yourself forward fold, And relax the arms, hips, and legs. Give a wiggle if you want to. Okay. All right, so folks, we're going to swing our legs around the other end of the mat. All right, so I'm now going to then roll over to this side. Depends where you were. Okay, but we're going to work our other side of our legs. We're side lying, as I say, on our forearm. So you've got your elbow underneath your ear, and legs are 45 degrees just towards the front of you. Tidying up as we did before, lifting that rib cage, shoulder blades back and down so the chest is really open and the shoulders and the posterior chain are engaged. Tummy in, pelvic floor in. Head, so hand towards the head, so you've got that slight lift, that sense of the shoulders trying to get slightly stacked if they can, which encourages also the ribs lifting. And we're going to head into our hip lift. When you're ready, with a lovely breath in, we exhale and just see how you feel as you lift the hips off the floor. For you, this side may be different. Exhale as we lift. Imagining a rope or a string, and it's lifting you, pulling the ribs and the hips at this top side up towards the sky. Lift and lower, next long. And obviously we can modify as we did previously. We had the top leg extended if you were feeling like heading up a little bit, and the lower leg pushes slightly back to 90 degrees and the heel is behind you. As you lift, you're pressing slightly into that lower knee joint, not intensively, but you're also that you have that extended leg, foot down on the mat too. Please for me, breathe in, exhale, lift and lower. Quickly reminding yourself the ears one more level, which is our legs in tightrope, both legs extended, one foot in front of the other, like they're a little tiny cue, and we lift then of course the whole of the body. So that's quite a bit heavier. We have 2 more in this level before we add in arc, just to pace you, yeah, and pausing everybody down for a second here. Arm comes up in javelin towards the sky because we're going to add in now as we lift the arm coming into arc. All right, so when you're ready, breathe in and exhale. Lift at whatever level you're working and over into arc. So we get a full upper body stretch, upper side of body stretch. Hand comes to the thigh or bottom, lift and over we go into arc. Breathe in when the bottom is down. Try and keep that space between the ear. Exhale as you lift and arc. And last one, breathe in, exhale, and release. Well done. Good news is we are lying on our backs now, so just gently roll yourselves down onto the mat. Well done. Bring your knees into your chest. Okay, small circles with the knee on the ceiling if you can for a moment. We won't take too long here because we're going to do a really nice flow piece next. Pop your feet down on the mat and just to look after your neck a moment, sideline, because it sometimes can be quite stressful on the neck. I'd like you to just lie here with your hands by your sides and just take your gaze over towards the right side of your body, the right side of your room, the right shoulder, just generally the right, so that you have a little bit of a stretch. Breathe into your whole body and bring yourself back to your ceiling and upright gaze. Breathe in, exhale, look over to the left. As you breathe in, bring your head back to the center. We're going to do that one more time each side. As you head to the right this side and breathe in, try to really breathe into that neck space. Feel the neck lengthening as you breathe in, allowing the chest to stretch, the shoulders to stretch. Come back to center and to the left. Again, big breath in. Even the side of the face, the eyes, the head, also having a moment as you come back to center, pausing there. Wonderful. Okay, so reset. As I say, we're going to be doing a flow piece, so I hope we need to get our rights and lefts correct today. So please bear in mind when I say that one side or the other, please try and copy that side. Your hands are going to be up by your bottoms to begin with. In other words, tucking your thumbs slightly close up towards your bottom cheeks, and shoulder blades are rolling back and down. Go ahead and lift your right knee, bringing it into your chest. Just draw that right knee in for a moment and place it back down. And then the left knee into your chest and place it back down. Bring the right knee in and extend the right leg towards the ceiling. Okay, and if you may recall last week, we were trying to press down that little tailbone into the mat. Just go ahead for a second and press that tailbone into the mat. And then on the other side, left knee into your chest, extending the left leg, pressing the tailbone down into the mat. Now we're pausing with this left leg up to the sky. I say that again, it's the left. Your right leg, I want you to now wiggle your toes away towards the end of the mat. So you're slowly lowering the level of your kneecap on that right side. We're going to press again into the coccyx and the base of your pelvis. That's now nice and rooted into the mat. And we're single leg circles with control. We're going to head towards the crossover of the midline of the body first. In other words, towards the bent knee. Now we're heading down towards the bent knee direction at the end of the mat, out towards the side of your body and back up towards your nose. Where we start, we cross the midline, slightly down towards the bent knee, out to the side and to the nose. Not too big, but perhaps we're thinking more hula hoop this week than dinner plate, okay? Shoulder blades are still back and down. You're really thinking like the whole of your back is your anchor, if you like, and then we're going to switch the opposite direction. And around we go, perhaps speeding up slightly, and around, and last two, and last one, and pause with the leg up. We are now going to roll onto, your left leg is going to stay up. We're going to roll onto our right side. So right side lying, and this left leg still stays high. Okay, so that left leg is up. Doesn't really matter too much about the lower leg. It can be slightly bent, and we're down resting ourselves with our head on our hand. Okay, so slightly lower down than the last level. We're now going to circle in this side lying position. So go ahead and circle the leg round. Single leg circles, see how it feels now. Okay, so you're circling front, back and sides, maybe a bit easier to get to the front perhaps than when you were trying to pull the leg towards the nose a minute ago. So let's have a challenge of maybe getting towards the buttock area. Okay, tends to be the buttock to the lift to the up, which is the tricky bit in this side lying. And we're reversing here, around we go, flip that direction. Maybe getting a bit more confident as you feel like you can get the circles a bit bigger in this side lying position. And last two. And last one, lift the leg to the sky and pause. We are going to keep this leg high again as we roll onto our tummies, and we have our hands stacked like so and foreheads on our hands, okay? So rolling onto the tummy, that leg is up and high. Both legs are extended. Your right leg is on the mat, the left leg is up. Your forehead is resting on your hands, okay? We aren't going to circle, we're going to just single lower that leg and lift. So you lower and you lift, you lower and lift and lower and lift, pausing with the lift. Bringing your hands now towards your shoulders, tuck your right toes under, and we're going to push back into 4-point kneeling. Tummies are in, push into your hands and into 4-point kneeling. Okay, for here we are now 4-point kneeling with our single leg behind us. Left leg circles, off we go. Single leg circles and around and around. And two more. And last one, reverse direction, and up and across and side and down, up and across and side and down. Bring your knee underneath you. Then our right leg is out and extending behind us. Lift it to bottom height. Single circles on the right leg. Let's go round, we go down, up, round, down and up. Single leg circles are long, straight legs. Tummy is in, reversing direction. Let's go round. Well done. And round. And last one here. Okay, so here's the slightly more tricky bit. We're going to keep that leg now. That right leg is extended and up towards bottom height. We're going to walk our hands forward and slowly lower ourselves down onto our tummies where we place our hands underneath our foreheads. That right leg is still up. Glutes are still engaged. Legs are nice and long. Tummy is in. We're going to lower the leg down towards the mat and lift. Breathe in when it's down and exhale as you lift. Single leg lift, it's a straight leg lift. You don't need to soften the legs so the toenails touch the floor. You don't even need to let the muscles relax to that point. If you do, that's fine. But just keep pressing up towards the sky. Last two. Last one. Now you may leave that leg high. You may find you're now rolling away from the camera or your device, which is fine. Your right leg stays up, and I want you now to roll over so that you're on your other side and your right leg is high. So your right leg is high, and if you're facing away from me, that is fine. You can soften your lower leg and bend it if you want. Your top arm is just supporting your head with your elbow and forearm on the upper arm on the mat, and with single leg circling here. So single leg circle with the right leg. Enjoy that scoop towards the back of the body, your glutes, okay? Really pulling that leg behind you, stretch the hip flexor at the front. We've got one more, then we're going to reverse. Direction, pushing the leg behind you, circle here. Well done. For 3, for 2, for 1, and leave that leg up high by your side. Okay, so now becomes the shuffle back onto the mat for our lying down. So you're going to push yourself onto the mat, back into the center, and we're where we started with our right leg up towards the sky, I hope. Pressing your lovely little tailbone down into the mat. You now have your left leg bent and your thumbs are now tucked up underneath your buttocks. Go ahead and wiggle your left toes away towards the end of the mat. So you lower that left kneecap down. Check you haven't lost that center and that core control, the pelvis pushing down, broad through the shoulders, and let's circle here on the right. And see how this one feels. Cross the mid direction down to the end, to the side and to your nose. That's that tricky bit, remember. Now we're lying down, it's slightly more impinged, up towards the nose. Tailbone stays glued. Don't be tempted to pull your buttocks off the mat to get that knee to your nose, okay? So you're letting the hip work. Did I say reverse? Reverse if I haven't. I don't think I did. For 4 more. And 3. Last 2. And last 1. Fantastic. Place that leg back down on the mat. Draw your knees into your chest and give them a little bit of a hug. Well done. Okay, so from here, we're going to bring ourselves into sitting. You can roll your knees to the side, or you can just single leg extend and a couple of rocks, maybe 1 or 2, and bring yourself towards the front of the mat. Okay, so we're going to roll like a ball here. We're going to have our toes tucked up toward our heels towards our bottoms, and toes, if you can, just slightly tucked under into a toe touch. We are holding around the outside of our ankles, okay? So you're just above the ankle joint there. Now, further rolling like a ball, remember, okay, guys? Okay, do pop something down if you need anything extra behind you, like a towel. Too much of a cushion, you'll just find you'll stop on it. It'll stop your flow, okay? But you're more than welcome to put something down, maybe like a jumper or a towel. Now, when we're going to roll in like a ball, we're going to be breathing in on the way back and we're going to exhale on the way up, yeah? That's one really big thing. The other is to try and think, we call this a ball because you're trying to make this back spine of your body as rounded as you can. So you really have to dig deep into the work we've done the last few weeks of that tiny, tiny tuck to begin with. Then the belly pulling in, almost like you're trying to C-curve down to the mat, yes, but you're holding your legs to stop you. So you press that belly button in as much as you can. As you breathe in, your chin is tucked to your chest. Remember that chin tucking in glue we had last week. You bring yourself back with a breath in, and exhale as you come forward. I can't emphasize that first tiny tuck of the pelvis enough, because that presses that lumbar spine into the mat and really expands that lumbar spine, and then you'll get much more of a flow. Use that breath vocally, guys. Breath in, big exhale on the way up. The more you use that exhale and activate the core, the more that will pull you forwards into balance. We've got 2 more. Last one. Oh, she says, or maybe 1 for luck, and pause there. Well done. Taking your feet down now, the hands come behind you, and find yourself somewhere again in the middle of the mat. Alrighty. So We are going to work on our reverse plank. We did a little bit of preparation last week. It was sneaky, you don't know it, but last week and the week before we were working on our tricep strength. All of that was in preparation for the reverse plank, or at least that's some of the levels to get there. You can choose with your hands. You may be happy with them here facing your bottom. That may be okay for you. But alternatively, as always, this is not tricep dips, so you can have your fingers out towards the side. If more comfortable, all over, you can put the fingers facing away from your bottom. That is fine. Whichever level you're choosing, we are all about the shoulder blades back and down. We are all about pressing the chest through and forwards, expanding the clavicle, this lovely collarbone here, away from the two sides, away from each other. Now, bringing the belly, and we talked about almost trying to detach, you're almost trying to imagine yourself lifting and making space away from this lovely pelvis by drawing yourself as tall as you can through the crown of your head. Then we are pressing down through the hands, the whole of the arm, the elbow, the shoulders, and lifting the bottom off the mat. Now, this is where we kind of ended last week, and we had a practice the week before. And this might be all that you want to do this morning, and I totally get that, all right, because it's quite a big piece. So you can carry on there at this level. However, for those who want to build up, now we're week 5, I can suggest that we have our legs are out and straight towards the end of the mat, and toes are together. When your toes are together, we're going to be lifting the bottom just as you did a moment ago. So this is where the important bit is, and we don't then lose and collapse the upper body. Everything is exactly how you were when it was the bent knee version. The body is really almost rigid, if you like, set from pelvis to head. And we simply lift and lower with straight legs. Okay, so last 2, if you're choosing to do straight or bent, that's fine. Last 1. Popping your bottom down. If you're bent, your legs are bent, if you could go ahead and extend your legs for me towards the end of the mat, we're all going to just forward fold by taking our arms in a circle overhead and just forward fold for a moment. Give those legs a little shake, give those wrists a little rotation round if you would like to, because we have one more level. Now, this is an add-on as opposed to a great level shift. So we can do the marching legs, both with your bottoms, both of your knees bent or your legs straight. So choose the same level. Or if you think, oh, I'm adding something on, I'd rather go down a level, then go ahead and back into your bent leg position. Otherwise, legs are straight, toes are great neighbors, shoulder blades are back and down, and pull and lengthen everything in your torso. We're going to lift bottoms up, whether your legs are bent or your legs are straight, and pause. Now we are going to press into your left foot or heel and lift your right leg into tabletop. Place your right leg back down, tummy in, and left foot lifts into tabletop. Pressing those legs down, left foot in, right leg lifts. Placing your foot down and lift. And we're marching single legs into tabletop for 4 more. And 3. And 2. And final 1. And gently release your bottom down. Extend your legs if they're bent. Swing your arms up and over behind you and forward fold for me there. Pause, pause, pause. Well done. Okay, with everyone's legs extended here, we're going to take ourselves into our spine stretch and our twist and our saw. So I'd like you to start off with your legs hip width apart and arms are out towards the front for us. Shoulder blades are back and down. Okay, grow nice and tall. We're going to just nourish your spine with some just nice little rotation and mobilization. Grow tall, tuck your chin into your chest. You might imagine the space there in your front here. Do you remember we talked about hugging a tree back in week 1? You're going to pull that belly in, almost like we're hugging a tree, but we've got our arms shooting out forwards. Let's bring our noses down towards our knees, belly still pulling in, okay? Your chin is still somewhere tucked up by your chest, and then you're restacking the spine back up into your start position. Perhaps imagine a wall behind you. Are you up against that wall? Do you bring your chin to your chest and peel perhaps the cervical spine away from the wall? Belly comes in, pelvic floor's in, and then maybe you're thinking of peeling the ribs off. Now can you peel the lower lumbar spine off as your nose heads towards your knees? And pause, take a breath in. And as you come back up, bring that belly in. This is an active piece. Restack every vertebrae one by one, and ready for the final one. Breathing in, grow tall, chin to chest, peeling down off that wall. Belly stays in. Belly stays in as the nose comes down. Don't collapse, don't collapse. That's why it's active. We don't just hang out here. We're nicely then restacking one vertebrae at a time, and into pause. When we're sitting, our arms come towards the sides to T, and our legs now zip together and glue. Okay, into our spine twist. Remember the hula hoop ribs we had right way back in week 1 and 2? Let's think about those hula hoops here, beautifully parallel currently, stacked up towards the sky. When we're going to breathe in, we're going to rotate towards the side. Okay. Can the front hula hoops, whichever side you're at, the front side of this rib cage area, can they pull ever so slightly down towards each other? And maybe you can twist a tiny bit more. Come back through to center, breathe in, grow tall, and to the opposite direction. Perhaps a small pulling down of the ribs, and maybe that gets you a little bit further. Okay, one more time either side. Remember, we're trying really hard not to lean back, okay? Just because you pull the ribs down to get further, it isn't about leaning back to get more around. You're thinking of more twist from that center. Breathe in, rotation. And then bring yourself back to center, where we divide our legs to roughly the width of a mat, or wider if that's more available and comfortable for you. And we're into our lovely saw. Okay, bringing both of those pieces in together. Arms are out by your sides. Our toes are flexed up towards the sky if you can. Breathe in. Let's go ahead and find the rotation first. So you're twisting now to look to one foot. Now we add in that flexion. We think about that C curve, the spine, the fold forward we did a moment ago, where you bring the belly in, you dive over that space. You don't lose that space as your hands cross over towards the opposite foot. Look towards the back of the room over that shoulder, palm pressing up towards the sky, and then bring yourself back to center. First, we find our rotation. Tummy's in, diving over nose to knees, looking behind you, hand behind you, over your shoulder, and then come back to center. You might enjoy a little tiny pulse this time as you rotate and you head forwards into flexion. You might enjoy a little tiny pulse. It's not everybody's thing. If you've got lower back issues, you might want to not push it too hard. Okay. Some little pulses and bounces went out of favor a little in the 90s, so it's one of the things that's specific to Pilates, but not everyone feels they're happy doing that. And then bring yourself back up to center. Gorgeous, where you just draw your legs together. Wonderful. Rolling onto your tummy is okay, guys. Space for our arms you will need, all right? So making sure you've got room around you. And our arms start off towards the top corners of these mats. So your forehead is down. Go ahead and pop anything under your forehead if you need to. Take glasses off a little bit. We are a little bit here for the next few minutes, so do discard them to the side. Our arms are in a V, as I say, the arms are out towards the corners of your mat. And can you go ahead and have your thumbs up and palms facing in towards the middle of you? So you're resting on the little finger and that edge of your hand, okay, on the floor. Wonderful. All righty. Now I want you to think about these shoulders being reasonably down from the earlobes, okay? But what I want you to imagine now is your shoulder blades are going to pull down even more towards your pelvis. And with that, you might feel your little fingers slide slightly across the mat, carpet, or floor towards you, and then let yourself relax back into neutral, breathing in. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades down as if you're pulling them into those back pockets, pulling from the armpit, pulling from the shoulder joint, not bending the elbow, and then relax. Yes, just 2 more. Breathe in. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades down. There might be a slight shift of the finger, as I say, along the mat or the floor, I'd imagine. And our last one, breathe in. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades down a tiny bit. Feel that movement. And relax. Okay, now we're going to take ourselves into a single arm lift. The thumbs are still heading up towards the sky, palms faced in. Single arm raise, breathing in, exhale. Now this is not a bend of the elbow. This is a straight arm lift. Okay, so have a word with yourself. Breathe in, exhale, and switch to the other side. Thumbs leading you as you lift. Now, as you exhale, remember that belly's coming in to support the lower spine. And breathe in, single arm lift. If you feel you can move into doubles, you're more than welcome, but that belly has to really be in, and there's no pressing of that belly or ballooning or pushing into the chest space. This is the arm and the shoulder joint doing the work, or should I say, the shoulder muscles are doing the work. Last two, or singles. Last one. And pause, arms down. Swing the arms down now to a T shape so they're back out towards the side of you in the same line as your shoulders themselves, okay? So you've got hand, elbow, shoulder, shoulder, elbow, hand. All righty. Turn your thumbs up towards the sky, and this time clench your fingers like a fist. So you're hitchhiking. You've got your thumbs pointing up and your hands are like fists, fingers like fists. All righty, exactly the same piece here with the lift. When you're ready, breathe in. The thumb lifts on the left or the right, and it's a single arm raise and down. Breathe in, exhale on the other side. Hitchhiking as you lift your thumb to the sky. We're switching from left to right and down. If you can remember the exhale, that would be fabulous. If you can remember to have a straight arm, that would be super too. If you can go into doubles, you're more than welcome to have a little try there. Breathe in, double thumbs up and lower with a double thumbs up. We've got two more. If you're left and righting, then go ahead. This is one more on either side. Big exhale. And then let your palms just rest down onto the floor, where you now sweep your hands now down towards your bottoms or your hips. Your little finger is now up and your thumbs are down on the mat and your hands are right back to the beginning position where we were doing washing of the dishes on the plates on the side of our legs. Yes, palms of the hands are facing in towards your thighs. Okay, now in a natural resting position, of course, here the hands would roll out, your shoulders roll to your ears, but I want you to roll those shoulders back. Find the move you did right at the beginning where you pulled your shoulder blades down towards the pelvis. Yes. And hold that position there. Neck is long. We're going to breathe in and simply lift the little fingers up towards the ceiling. So we're slicing these hands up by your sides towards the ceiling. With an exhale, push the little fingers at the same time. I should say, I beg your pardon, doubles. Okay, let's breathe in. If you really do struggle or you've got a real problem with one shoulder, singles is fine, guys, of course. Now, if you're feeling comfortable, we're going to just pause for a second with the arms down and do indeed let the shoulders roll and the hands roll. Our final piece this morning will be the adding on the upper body lift and finally the legs if you're comfortable heading into dart. Quick reminder, shoulder blades back and down, palms down by your sides, fingers are up. Either continue as you are if you don't want to work your upper body or you're breathing in, exhale, lift your little fingers at the same time, grow long through the spine and lift your forehead off the mat. Keep your forehead in parallel with the floor if you can, and lower everything back down. Breathing in, exhale, and lift. Now we're going to try not to slump the arms down onto the mat in between, guys. So don't forget that's important. Breathe in, exhale, lift double arms or double arms and upper body. Last two. Final one. Holding with your arms lifted or the heart or the upper body and arms lifted, and we're going to single leg lift on the right and lower. Breathe in, exhale, single leg lift on the left. Now if any of this is becoming too much, you can go ahead now and just lose the upper body, lose the arms, sweep them back round, pop them under your forehead and just work on these legs with me. That is fine. Otherwise, we're holding, we're lengthening, we're growing, we're like a dart. If you can attempt to work on the doubles, pull those legs together like glue, string round the ankles as you lift and lower everything onto the floor. Breathe in, exhale, lift, upper body, hands, fingers to the sky, legs long with a double leg lift. or using any level you want to at this point now. We have our last one. Breathe in, exhale, lift and hold for 3, for 2, for 1. And wherever you are, just bringing everything back down onto the mat into a relaxed position. Rolling over now onto your back, draw your knees into your chest and small circles around that lower back. Okay. Just placing your legs back on the mat, feet onto the floor, knees towards the sky, and arms are out by the sides. Okay, what I'd like you to do is now take your knees over towards the right. Okay, and your gaze towards the left. And I want you to think about whether you're comfortable bringing your right arm over towards the left as well. So the right arm just slides across the body and flops really across the chest. Okay. And then let that right arm hang out back on the floor, bring your knees and head towards the ceiling and pause here. Let your knees now trot over towards the left, looking over towards the right. And now the left arm just comes over and just flops over the chest. And breathe. Well done. Taking your arms back out to the side, bring your knees and gaze towards the sky. Take your right foot, just taking it across the left knee. Hands are coming in and behind your left thigh, not behind everything. You post your right hand through the hole you've made in the middle. Grab hold behind that left thigh and draw that left thigh in towards you. Just pause and hold and breathe. Okay. Small stretch not only around the glutes, but it does also a nice release for the lower back. Okay, so placing that foot back down, taking your left foot onto the right side. Hands, yeah, coming through. Left hand reaches through the hole in the middle and you hold behind the right thigh. Great stuff. Breathe and hold. Okay. Placing the feet back down, roll the knees towards the side. So you're into your 4-point kneeling, but to come back out of our work this morning, we're going to push into a V or downward dog. So gently lifting your bottom up towards the sky. Okay, we're going to just have a quick little pedal of the back of those legs. Okay, for a little bit of a stretch, your head should be somewhere between those arms if you can. And with both legs then settling, knees are bent, we're going to bring the belly in, pelvic floors in, and slowly walk the hands one at a time back towards the feet. And then we're ready for our roll up. Gently restacking the spine, belly coming in, restacking one by one, vertebrae, one on top of the other, and into the center of the mat for our final snow angel breath. In, hands down by your sides, breathe in for me and lift your arms, double arm float towards the sky. Exhale, press the air down by your sides, really grow through the crown of the head. One more time, breathe in. As you breathe in and lift your arms, feel the heels connected to the floor, the sole of the feet nice and balanced and stable. Press the arms down by your side and you're glued in to the floor. Close your eyes for 2 breaths. Big exhale, zipping and hollowing. As you breathe in, grow tall, expand through the chest. Exhale, zip and hollow. And we are done. Well done. And that's the end of our week 5 session. So I hope that was all bearable. I know side lying is not everyone's favorite, so we have to kind of sneak that in there somewhere. But lovely progressions there, hopefully for the arms as well, and the work in reverse plank. So well done, everybody. We've got 1 more week to go until half term, and then it's 2 weeks off. I said I was going to let everyone know last week, but this is the week I will now be sending out information. So fingers crossed it will head to you soon. Okay, so thanks everybody, and I'll see you either in the studio or again on Zoom. Bye for now. Bye.